Hello, everyone. My name is Samantha Thames, and I am your host today at the LAFS Podcast. Today on the LAFS Podcast, I'm very honored to be joined by WGSN, the global authority on consumer trend forecasting and behavior. For over 25 years, WGSN has helped brands understand shifting lifestyles, values, and market demands through data-driven insights and expert forecasting. And my guest today, Christian Acquista, is the new business development manager for Latin America at WGSN. With over a decade of experience in design and retail, he's now based in New York City. Christian works in the intersection of global trends and Latin American markets, helping brands translate insight into strategy. Today's conversation is really great because Latin America is no longer just emerging, it is influencing. And we see this everywhere in global music, sports, art, fashion, and culture, shaping taste worldwide. As we move into 2026, this feels less like a trend and more like a shift. In a world defined by uncertainty, Latin America is standing out for its resilience, creativity, and strong cultural identity. Today's conversation isn't about future potential, it is about the signals that are already happening. We're exploring how Latin America is becoming a global reference point in retail, culture, and innovation, and what that means for the leaders building brands in this new era. So welcome to the LAFS Podcast and welcome, Christian. Okay, welcome, Christian. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. Thank you for having me here today.
In this freezing Friday morning in New York City.
It is cold, right?
It is
Especially
very cold.
for you that you're looking at warm weather.
Yes, that I am used to the Yucatecan weather. I'm freezing, but I'm very excited to have you here. Last time I saw you, we were at the LAFS Summit in November in Miami, where you gave an opening keynote speech about forecasting and trends and everything. And I'm very excited, particularly today, to speak about this topic because it is something that it doesn't feel like a trend anymore. It feels like a shift.
It is.
And I'm very excited about this. We're speaking about Latin effervescence, which is a report that WGSN launched recently. And I'm very excited because for me, we've been seeing a lot of cultural references on Latin America. Music, sports, fashion, culture, everything is kind of like reshaping. Mm-hmm. And it feels like Latin America is becoming a powerhouse right now.
You're correct. Like Latin America right now, it's before we used to do like, oh, maybe it's becoming. No, now it is Latin America. Like Latin American is like given the shape of the future. Like, as you said, music, culture, like people is more interested in us. So yeah, it is a moment for us.
It is. 2026 is for Latin America.
Absolutely.
And again, it's not a trend. It is actually shaping or reshaping the way that we perceive culture. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about tariffs. And we're also going to talk about how brands that are launching or planning to launch or that are already in business can actually use this in their behalf or in their advantage to be stronger brands with strong cultural identity and communicate with their consumers even better.
Yes, because now it's an advantage for us because we have everything to be a powerful country, a powerful area, region. So this is a moment that companies needs to start like reshaping their way they think. So this is a very exciting podcast that we're going to share a lot of insights. Then hopefully companies can take like some ideas from us and apply them into their everyday work.
And this is not only for Latin American brands, it's for any brand that wants to communicate with the consumers that are actually being reshaped by the Latin culture, the Latin resilience. We're seeing that, right?
Yeah. Yes, it's correct. This is for every single brand that wants to connect with their customers.
Exactly. So let's start with our question. Our first question, Christian, is WGSN poses a very provocative question, which is, what if Latin America stopped being seen as an emerging market and became a global retail reference point? From your perspective, what clear signals show that this shift is already happening?
Yeah, this is it's super provocative, but we're seeing everywhere. We're seeing artists like Bad Bunny, Shakira. We're seeing this about in music and culture. Like people wants to know more about us. If you see social media, it's all about like people is trying to learn about Bad Bunny lyrics. They're trying to speak Spanish. They're trying to dance salsa. They're trying to like eat Mexican food, Latin food. So it's like that's why we said that this is not like shaping the future. It's already there. So that's why my perspective is this type of like movements like music, culture that is like reshaping the way the world sees us. This is the reason why it's happening now, and it's not gonna end now. This is just the beginning. So I believe that the Latin Renaissance is gonna start driven by pride. So we as Latins, we need to feel pride for it and show it to the world. So that's the reason why we as WGSN believe that this is our moment right now.
Of course, because I think that we are owning that Latin heritage and pride. I feel like before, many years before, sometimes Latins would even kind of like be ashamed of saying,
Exactly.
I am a Latin American, maybe for political reasons or for whatever reason. Maybe it's like if I say I'm Latin American, I'm not going to get the job. I'm not going to get the opportunity. But right now it's playing to their advantage, to our advantage, saying that we're Latin American. It's our moment. And I think that, and it's not only checking boxes. It felt like a couple of years before, it was kind of like maybe it was a corporate policy because of, diversity and inclusivity. Right now, it feels like a total advantage
Yes.
to be
Yes.
Latin American.
Yes, because you know what? Like we have something that I believe no one else has. We are resilient. Like we do whatever we have to do to make it. So that's the power that we have. So as you said before, sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't want to say that I'm Mexican. I'm not going to say that I'm Latin American. Now, like I am Mexican, like super proud because we have seen that we have power in everything that we do. So yeah.
I mean, we were just discussing the power of someone like Bad Bunny,
Yes.
right? That not only his music and his, persona is influencing, but also even the advantage to the country. Like he was saying, like if you want to go to my concerts, you're going to travel to Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And that created a lot of economic downspill for the city, for the country, travel, consumers, merch, everything, and the visibility to Puerto Rico, right?
Yes.
So it's something that it's really interesting because now it is a statement. I feel like Latin America is a statement and with a strategy that can be even shifting policies.
Everything. Exactly. Like we were talking about this, like he's changing, a lot of artists like Shakira, Bad Bunny, J Balvin, all those artists are shaping or reshaping the way the world sees us because it's going to change everything. Like if you want to see our culture, come and see it. Like change the mindset that you have from our culture and come live the culture, live the music, live everything. And you will see that our culture is totally different the way you were thinking it was.
Yes. Now I see it in Mexico City. Mexico City became like a really hot spot right now for Americans, Europeans, Asians. Yep. Like they travel to Mexico City because it is really hot right now. They visit the city, they eat tacos, they go to the museums, they really want to absorb the culture. And it was just like recently, like a couple of years ago, and now you see on Instagram, every single reel, it's like, we're traveling to Mexico City. It's really something that people now want to try, breathe, eat, step on and live on our culture, right?
Yeah, that is correct. That's the most important signal that this is happening now.
And they travel back to their countries and to their families, and they speak well about Latin America.
That's the best part because we're changing the way the world sees us because now they live our culture. So they go back to their countries and they see like, look, Mexico is beautiful. It's safe. It's totally different what we see in news. So
exactly. Now, in a global context marked by economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and fragmentation of international trade, why is Latin America emerging as a hub of resilience and creativity?
So the answer is within the question, creativity. Because Latin American people, we have a lot of creativity. We have a lot of things against us, political issues, security. We have like, you name it. We have everything against us. And what happened that we find a way how to turn that into an opportunity. So the answer is creativity. Latin Americans, we find a way how to find opportunities for us. No matter where we are, no matter the opportunity that you're looking for, you're gonna find a way how to get it. So I believe that our challenges we converted in opportunities. So that's something that I've been traveling a lot, and you don't see it too often. Like when you face, for example, people from another places, like you face like simple problems that are for us simple. For them are like, what should I do? And we're like, find a way, like just do it.
That's very Latin American.
Yeah,
it's like we'll find a way.
We'll find a way. That is nothing that is going to stop us. So I believe the answer is creativity.
Of course. And now the report speaks about uncertainty as the new standard. How should the mindset of retail leaders in LATAM evolve in response to this new reality?
So yeah, I believe that leaders should change their mindset from stability to adaptability. We need to move everything. Like, for example, we need to start working, reducing risk. We're like so used to start like doing our supply chain far east or like far from our homes. So what I think is like we need to start changing that. We have power in Latin America. We have companies that they do beautiful work. So for us to be more open and less risk, we have to start like working near our companies. And also it's gonna make power our region, because we can show to the world that our products are made with quality, with pride and trust. So I do believe that that's the change that the mindset that they have to change.
I mean, usually Latin American brands, they don't produce outside. We're always producing at a small scale.
Yeah.
We're very sustainable, if you will, in that sense, because we work with, we empower communities, or with, Madres Cabeza de Familia. Like we really make sure that our communities get empowered as well, our artisans, everything. And we are producing in a smaller scale. Now, when you become a bit bigger, that I think it's a bigger challenge, because you do need to serve, demand, or it becomes a little bit more expensive to produce. But I feel like overall, Latin America has done a great job in producing internally as a region.
Yeah.
I do want to call out that, for example, in Mexico, before we used to be we used to produce a lot of garments, right?
Yeah.
But then obviously China became much more competitive in pricing, and we were actually like producing a lot of denim. For US companies and everything. But then, and they were mainly driven by Jewish, owners, like Las Maquilas. They were owned by, and now there's less and less maquilas in Mexico that produce, because the cost of production is not competitive to what we're seeing in other Asian countries, right? Yeah. But then during the pandemic, I do want to say that because of market proximity with the US, we again became an option of production, right? Exactly. But now it's kind of like, again, the pandemic is over, and back to business, and competitivity is still something that I feel it's something that we need to work. But I think that towards our advantage, if a brand really wants like something a bit more tailored, more artisanal, more like less mass consumption, do you think that brands in Latin America can service other companies that are from the outside to come and work with us?
Yeah, actually, that's what's going to happen, because companies from outside, they're seeing that we have that power, that we have the knowledge, we have the product, we have everything. So I do believe that companies from outside is going to start like coming back again to Mexico and Latin America. Because, for example, Argentina is beautiful for leather. Colombia, denim, Mexico, like we have so many regions that they're like exceptional with their work. So I am 100% sure like companies from Europe, companies from the US, they're going to go back and see Mexico as a powerful resource of companies that they can produce their products with quality. So I do believe it is something that's going to happen in the next 2 years, I guess.
And they need to be ready for this.
Exactly. Yes, because as now, this is another thing that we have to we talk about it. We are ready, but not. Like we have everything, but companies are a little bit like sleeping on their dreams. It's like, it's the moment, like wake up. people is going to start looking, like knocking your door. You have to be ready.
Well, whomever's listening, like
Wake up.
wake up. Yeah,
Yeah.
because when the opportunity comes,
You have to be ready.
that's something that also it's very stigmatic, I feel. But before we were perceived as lazy and as like, no, they're not going to deliver on time. They're not going to deliver with quality. Now we're seeing that, no, we actually deliver on time. Even if we work with artisans, sometimes like artisans, I feel like they're much more prepared.
Yes.
So that is going to, again, play to your advantage, that you can be even producing not only for if you're a Latin American brand for yourself, but also for other brands that are coming from the outside.
Exactly. I do believe that. And I see it because I have like several conversations with like different companies around Latin America and also outside Latin America. And actually people from outside are asking me like, do you know someone in Latin America that they can produce this? Like it's been like constant. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, people start like, why I have to produce in China if I can produce this close to my home? It's going to reduce prices, risk, and I'm going to support my region. So that's the reason why, like, that answer is because I have base that companies are looking for to bring everything close. So,
Okay. And also sourcing, right?
Yes.
I feel like Latin America has lots of natural resources, and not only the manufacturing, but also the resources on, for example, Peru with alpaca wool, with pima cotton. Colombia, as you were mentioning, one of the biggest fairs of
Colombia Tex.
Colombia Tex, exactamente. And that happens actually right now in January. Like people are going and traveling to Latin America from all over the world to source products or the la materia prima that is actually being, produced there.
I don't know if you know, but like León, Guanajuato in Mexico, in the shoe industry, like companies from Italy, from the US, from the UK, they go there to like source products. So
and leather.
Yes. So it's like we have everything. We just need to like wake up, as I said, like just wake up.
And right now it's kind of been like I don't know if it's like a secret and nobody talks about this, obviously, because they don't want to.
Because they don't, exactly.
Yeah. But I feel like we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Like all of these like producers, leather producers, cotton producers, everything, like we need to talk about this because this can be a great business opportunity.
Absolutely. So that's why we're here. They need to like listen and do something about it.
Now, a big issue that we saw last year that impacted a lot of people, a lot of businesses, and still impact a lot of businesses till this day are tariffs, right? And I want to go back a little bit, not to the tariffs right now with the U.S., but when Latin America, because they have a lot of resources, has always been very protective as well, right? Yeah. I remember when I used to be a buyer for Saks Fifth Avenue in Mexico City, when I started there back in 2007, Mexico had such big tariffs for Chinese products that initially it was almost impossible to bring brands that were made in China, because we had to pay like 500 and something %, right? Then it got lowered to 300%, which is still very expensive. Then it got lowered to 180, and that's when we got kind of like creative because it all depended if it was knitted or if it was, depending on the material composition. But still, you couldn't actually buy a complete collection because
it was too expensive.
Expensive. Then it got lowered to 35%, which is actually what you pay right now. Yeah. And little by little, I feel like Latin America has been opening to other products from the outside, still paying tariffs. Yeah. But now we're seeing the opposite. Like now countries, and especially US, is like protecting exactly. So tariffs have always existed, but today the real issue is lack of predictability. How does this uncertainty directly affect the relationship between brands and consumers?
So now, of course, we're having this type of problems and we need to be transparent. Like consumers need to see why they're paying that amount of money because they understand, like, of course, we need to increase the prices because taxes, because everything. But what you have to make sure is, of course, we're living in an uncertainty world. Our consumers know that they want to pay a little bit more, But we have to be smart because consumers are going to consume less. So we have to be very careful with the prices. We have to be transparent. We have to be like super fair. If we're going to do a change in our prices, do it. Of course, clients are going to understand, but be transparent. Tell them like why. I don't know if you have seen like so many brands that they showing like, for example, I source from here. I pay this much from transportation. I have to add this because I have to pay this, and that. So in their page, you see how much money they're adding to their products because of tariffs and because of everything, the expenses that they have. So at the end, people is like, okay, I feel comfortable paying this because you explain me everything, like you've been transparent. So in a time that is uncertain, transparency is going to be the key.
Yeah. So for a brand that is, I mean, obviously all Latin American brands, and we see this at LAFS all the time.
Yeah.
They aspire to sell outside their markets, right? If they're big enough and they have dominated their local markets, the next step naturally for them is, I want to sell in the US. I want to sell in Europe. And when they want to sell in the US, we always tell them like, you need to be prepared for this, not only because of the demand, but also the lack of predictability on things can change like in 1 second. And then your product's going to be much more expensive, which is actually going to cannibalize your local product. So what would you recommend to those brands right now that are thinking of going internationally, specifically with the US market? How, I mean, of course, transparency, but is there like a step or like a 1, 2, 3 to really understand on pricing, like how to price their goods, how to really communicate with a consumer and make sure that this doesn't impact them locally?
It is hard because for every company is like completely different. But we would think this, like you have to like be rooted in who you are, because sometimes it happens when you want to go out, when you want to go, for example, the United States, you start like tropicalizing your product. Like you want to be like another brand that you're not. So you start losing that. So it's more about the pricing because now clients, I mean, of course, they care about how much they're paying. But what they care is like the DNA of your brand. So be truthful to who you are. If you want to go out of your market, of course, you're going to have problems with pricing. You have to be really smart. That is something that I will leave that to the companies because they need to see if their product is going to be successful outside, because obviously sourcing, obviously prices, transportation, everything. So the product is going to be a little bit more expensive. But what I believe is the first step is never lose your DNA. Even though that you're going to go to a market that maybe your brand is not like maybe you're, for example, let's say this. Right now, everything like a trend is like to be like super simple, like so no prints, no nothing. And Latin American brands are like colorful, printful, like it's like everything about like color. So many brands have been lost because they're trying to make what is trendy from outside. So what I say, the first step is be you, because there is a market that is gonna like you. And if you start like losing that, so you're not gonna be successful. And from there, obviously, you're gonna have more problems. Pricing, transportation, and any change is gonna like affect you. And at the end, you're gonna end up closing your own stores in Latin America, which we don't want to happen. So my advice is to be truthful to who you are, to DNA, and be transparent.
Okay. And could we argue, like now I'm thinking like with your answer and with my next question, which is the rise in economic nationalism and local consumption. Could we argue, and it's a two-step question. Now that we're saying, for example, the Bad Bunny example, it's like if you want to buy from me, come and buy from my territory. My territory. Can we argue that companies would do better that way, or do they have to come to the consumer here?
I believe that you have to create a good relationship with your consumer, because I do believe that consumers now, for example, luxury is redefining what is luxury. So people wants to go to places that other people doesn't have access. So I believe that these type of brands, they should stay in their countries for now, because it's gonna be those experiences that we can give to them. Like, you want to have my brand, come to my country, you're gonna have it here. So I think, yes, it's a smart way to do it. But also, for example, like collaboration, this is another way that you can like go out. For example, you can find places like pop-up stores or something that you can put your products. It's like I don't have a store, so I don't have the 100% of the risk of my store, but I'm gonna collaborate with a lot of another Latin American brands. So you can have the outside a little bit, but I do believe that to give that extra and that feel of luxury is like, come buy in my land, come buy in my territory. So I do believe it.
And a shift that we're seeing, and this is something that we've been seeing for a while now, is national consumers. Like right now, and when I was a buyer at Saks many, many years ago, I remember that I was buying for a woman that always aspired to dress like with luxury brands, and that's never going to change. But they weren't interested in local brands. They wanted to be the same cookie cutter person with the same bag as everyone else and the same shoes and the same dress. And from a time now, I've been seeing how people really enjoy sourcing products like that are like from emerging brands in Latin America that nobody has heard of, and they're proud to wear them. And one of the countries that I see that more is Colombia, for sure. When I was a buyer at Saks, I definitely saw the shift in Mexico, but with a younger generation, not with the older generation. The older generation still behaved the same way. They were like, no, I want to wear Chanel. But then the younger generation, they were like, oh, there's a very cool little store in La Roma, and I want to buy this and this and that. And it was actually a piece of conversation, right? Which happened in New York. In New York, it's like the more different you are, it's like
the best. The better,
But in Mexico, it wasn't like that. And then in Colombia, it started to be the opposite. There's so many great talents and designers in Colombia. And the Colombians wear their designs proudly. And they're like, this is Colombian talent. And there's many movements like Vístete de Colombia and everything, that it is a country that we need to actually take as a reference, because they are empowering their local, brands, consuming their own brands, and sending the message proudly internationally. And that is something that I really love. But do you see this as a threat to global retail or as an opportunity to strengthen local identities?
No, it's completely an opportunity, because I don't know if you know, there is like a movement in Latin America that we have like a tag that is made in Latin America. So it's like, for me, I see like an opportunity for us, as you say, like be proud of who we are and what we produce. Because I completely agree with you. When I went to Colombia, I see like those beautiful dresses, those beautiful like pieces that you're like, where do you get it from? It's like, oh, from my brand, or from this brand from Colombia, like that you didn't even imagine that they did that. So I do believe that this is an opportunity for us to show the world how good we are, because our product have the quality, have everything that you need to have. And this is the moment for us to showcase that, hey, we're here, we can do everything, but we need to start within us. Because as you said before, we were like, oh, maybe no, I don't want to wear these products because they're Mexican. Guess what? A lot of international brands produce their products in Mexico. So it's something that we need to start changing our mindset. Thank God, the new generations, Gen Z, they don't care about this. They don't care about brands. They don't care about anything. So we're seeing like more open to buy whatever they like. It doesn't matter if it's like a luxury brand or if it's like something that they found in a flea market. So I see this as an opportunity for us in Latin America.
Actually, 84%, what your report talks about, 84% of Latin Gen Z consumers say that they are proud of their origins. So how can brands connect with this generation without falling into cliches or superficial cultural appropriation?
Yes, this is a beautiful question, because this happens too often. Like brands want to like showcase their identities and their DNA, and we fall into cliches. So what I believe here is you have to understand the region. For example, I don't know if you have seen what is doing OXXO. OXXO is doing something beautiful. OXXO, they're like in some of the stores.
So whomever doesn't know what OXXO is,
yes,
I mean,
OXXO.
OXXO is expanding into Colombia.
I mean, in Brazil, they have OXXO everywhere. So.
Okay, so OXXO is a convenience store. Which is kind of like a 7-Eleven, if you will. But exactly. I don't know what they're doing, actually.
So they're doing, OXXO is like helping the community, because what they're doing is, for example, let's say Michoacan is an state from Mexico. So what they're doing is like decorating everything from outside, from the local region, like the colors, the decorations, everything is going to be like based in the region. And inside the OXXO, they're selling just products from the region. So this is something that you can, like, of course, use the things that you have around, but don't fall in the cliche that you're just using because it's Mexican. So it's something that you have to live. If you want to use this as your DNA brand, make it fun and make it livable. Like make them consumers to see that you are contributing to the community, not just extracting, like their roots.
That's interesting.
It is beautiful. Beautiful. They're doing a great job. I was like seeing it and I was like, wow, this is beautiful because they have every OXXO is totally different. And
there's a little corner in the store that
the whole store.
The whole store.
Yes.
Wow.
It's not all the stores. It's like, for example, maybe the one that is in downtown.
Yeah.
But everything that they sell there is from the local
Locally
producers.
sourced. Wow.
Everything. It's beautiful. It's super smart. And it's a way they're giving back to the community.
Of course.
So that's what I say. Like, if you're going to take something from the community, give back. Help the community.
Of course.
So you don't fall in a cliche that you're just using it.
And the storytelling is very important in that.
Very
like how
important.
you tell that you're doing this without, sounding cliche.
Exactly. That's 100% because they don't even need to like tell a story because you see it. People right now, they want to like feel, they want to go to a place and experience something. They just don't want to, they don't just want to buy a product. They want to feel something else. They want to have an experience. So by doing that, you're giving them all. You're giving them the product and you're giving them the experience.
And that is what you referenced to Latin Renaissance, right? That pride, identity, and cultural sovereignty, which is, I feel like it's a cultural awakening that is translating into concrete value proposition for the brands, right?
Correct.
That is why we are actually seeing that when we talk about value proposition, and every time that a brand comes to us or someone comes with an idea that I want to launch my brand, I want to launch a product, is always like, what is going to be your value proposition? There are thousands and millions of brands out there that are offering things. Like, are you going to create another piece of trash that is going to end up in a dumpster, or are you going to create
a piece of art?
So, and that is going back to your DNA, right?
Yes.
Like, what is your true DNA? What is your value proposition? Are you inventing something new? Or it can be a product or a service. Like, what is your offering?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right now, if we can see it, like, people, they don't want to just buy a product. They want to buy a history. Like, they're buying less. Of course, we can see it like in numbers. Like, if you see like numbers of the companies, they're selling a little bit less. Why? Because people doesn't just want to buy a product. Like, for example, I don't want to like mention a region, but I don't want to just buy a product that I know that this product has been making people overwork and they don't pay fair, etc. They want to buy a product that they give them something, history, DNA. So they're going to connect with brands that give something back to you. Because now, before the companies that were like, I just want to make money and that's it. No, now you have to connect with your consumers. If you don't connect with your consumers, even if you have the best product in the world, you're not going to sell it, because the first thing that you have to do is show that you have a strong DNA, you understand your consumers, and the most important, that you listen to them. So this is like the key for your brand. If you want to produce something, this is the first step that you have to do. Have a DNA.
Mm-hmm. And then understand who your consumer is and what are you creating for whom.
And why, exactly.
And why, right?
Yeah.
Some of the most successful brands that I've met have created amazing communities, and their communities really kind of dictate how the business is supposed to be, right?
Yes.
I've even seen new brands that co-create with their own communities, especially like right now with Instagram and everything, that you're much more approachable to the brands, and it's something really nice to really bring them into the process and the creative process, and making them feel that they're part of, because it creates a relationship, but it also, you understand what they need.
Exactly. I don't know if you have seen, like, there is a lot of brands that they create posts in Instagram, or like, for example, they ask people like, hey, we're going to produce a new jacket. I want to hear you. So the people feel that they're designing that jacket, because they say like, you know what? I want this color, I want this print, I need this, I need that. So at the end, people, actually, they're creating the products that they need. The company is just providing you what you want, but actually you are deciding what you want. And we have seen this in fashion, in beauty, and food. Like in every industry, right now it's about collaboration. Like we stop thinking about like the company is gonna give you whatever they want and you buy it. No. Now the consumer is telling us what we have to do because they have
when, where,
and how and everything. All the questions, they are the one that they're dictating. So as you say, collaboration is the most important. Right now, you have to collaborate with everything. Something really smart is we need to stop seeing our competitors as our competitors. We need to start collaborating.
That's very smart.
Yes.
Because then you can have the whole pie.
Exactly.
Instead of just a slice.
Exactly. So that's why, like, if we want to be strong, don't see your competitor as your competitor. See it as you're someone that you can work with.
And how do you go about it? I mean, obviously you leave your ego aside first step.
Yeah.
And then how do you go about it? Identifying the need for that same. Okay.
I saw a podcast the other day of a very successful person that he was saying like, I was very open with my competitor and I said, look, you're doing this really well. I want to learn from you. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing well. So we both grow. So as you say, we have to leave behind our ego and see that we can both be successful. You have your DNA, you have your clients, I have mine, but I see that you're doing something really well. Please teach me how to do it. So the first thing is leave your ego. And the second is like be open to learn from every single person that is in the business, because I'm pretty sure everyone has to teach you something. And if we collaborate with this, Latam is going to be super strong because, as I said, we have creativity, we have resilience, we have everything to be a powerful country and a powerful region. So creativity, ego, erase it a little bit and collaborate.
That's really smart. I also think that testing is good because, and even going back to other topics, not only fashion, yesterday my husband and I, we were at a comedy club. And there's a very famous comedian there, and he loves it, and that's why we went. His name is Neil Brennan. And when we left the comedy club, I told my husband, like, what is he doing here? Like, he's really famous. And he's like, he's testing. Exactly. He's testing his jokes before he does another Netflix special because he needs to understand if his joke is good with a small amount of people. Yeah. And when he sees the reaction of his jokes, maybe that joke worked or not. And then he's like, okay, now I'm going to take it to the Netflix special. Yeah. So we can actually talk about, like, maybe if you test certain products or brands with your local communities before taking it to a much more bigger crowd. Yes. Starting with testing with a niche group or with your friends or local communities before getting too big. That's also a really, and I was like, ooh, that's very smart.
Yeah, actually, I think I was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we started doing this. I was working in Liverpool. I was like working in trends and product development. So we was doing that. We choose some stores depending on the product, and you were like testing. Instead of like buying like humongous amount of products, you were like, let me see, I'm just gonna test in this store, a small corner to see if it's gonna work. So this is the smartest way to do it. Like, don't go big, start small and see if it works, and then do whatever you want. But testing and collaborating right now is the thing that you have to do before anything else.
Okay, so now I want to go back to the report. WGSN identifies 5 major regional drivers. Which are they? And if you had to prioritize just one of the next 2 years, which would have the greatest impact on retail and why?
So, we have the 5 major drivers. I'm going to read them because it's something that we have to. The first one is new population dynamics. It's the first major driver. The second one is AI everywhere. The boom in buy and multilateral agreements, the consumption and value-based economy, and the rise of hyperlocal retail. If I have to choose one, I'd say it would be AI. Okay. Why? This is tricky because AI is everywhere. AI is like telling us everything about consumers, prices, how people buy, how we do like assortments and everything. So if you have to do or like prioritize something, should be AI, because AI is not going anywhere and it's going to change the way we work, we shop, and we live. Actually, you can see it now, like in your Instagram, in the pages that you see. For example, we're speaking now, and I'm pretty sure that we're gonna go out and we're gonna start like having a lot of like messages and pop up like messages from brands and everything because we mentioned them. So if we have to be something strong on it, it's AI. And in Latam, we need to be a little bit strong because our people doesn't think that technology is gonna help us a lot. We're gonna get like deeper in that conversation later on, but if I have to choose one, it will be AI. It's something that we need to work really hard on it.
And we're actually seeing as we speak, like ChatGPT is now becoming a search engine, and you can directly shop from ChatGPT now.
Yeah.
It's really changing how we are shopping. Before it was like Google or Instagram, and now like you are searching in ChatGPT, like show me Colombian brands, and they will show you, and then you can shop directly through there. Yeah, no, it's changing everything. And how can Latin America be more of an innovator and less of a follower? Because I feel like that is a topic that happened even when back in the day with e-commerce, right? So back in the day when we were talking about you should have your own e-commerce, you should do direct to consumer, do not depend on retailers, blah, 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 blah. I felt like Latin America was a bit behind on that. Even during the pandemic, the amount of brands that didn't have e-commerce, they weren't prepared with e-commerce. And as soon as the retailers shut down and they were returning products and everything, there were a lot of brands that they were like, now what am I going to do? I'm going to sell through WhatsApp or Instagram because I don't have e-commerce. Of course, everybody, most of the brands, of course, now have e-commerce. But I feel like the story is repeating with AI now.
100%. I have to tell you this because at that time I was working with WGSN as an account manager. So it was shocking to see how many like really good brands, they didn't have an e-commerce during COVID. Because they were asking us like, hey, what can I do? Like, how can I like sell my product? So I was like, through your e-commerce. And they were like, we don't have a strong e-commerce. I was like, why? How? We've been telling you for years that you have to invest in your e-commerce. The problem that we have in Latin America is a lot of brands are like owned by families. So the CEO is the father of the father, so it has like this like old school mentality. So we need to move a little bit that technology is not going to affect them. So now we see like in the pandemic, we saw it. Like if you didn't have an e-commerce, I saw so many stores that they closed because they couldn't exist anymore because it was 2 years that we couldn't work. So now it's happening again with the AI. We need to like wake up with this because we're seeing that a lot of companies are doing it. I'm happy that Uruguay, Brazil, and Argentina are the 3 countries that are leading the AI in Latin America. Yes, they have like actually Chile create ChatGPT especially for Latin American people.
Oh, really?
Like they understand the way we speak, they understand our region and everything. So we have like powerful resources that we can use. The thing is like we need to change our mindset because some of the companies believe that, oh no, we have time. No, we don't have time. Do it now because in 2 years you're already done.
Yeah, exactly. Because right now we're just like depending on somebody else's inventions or creations but I feel like, and we've seen it with a lot of companies, even unicorns in Latin America on the tech space, that they've become leaders in their own industries. I mean, the talent is there. It's just how do we,
I believe something that we also need to change. I'm going to speak about like something that we can change because one important thing is like government. Government also have to like support more with investment. But one thing that we can truly do is universities. Like universities need to teach the students to be more anger, like more like you can do it. Because as now, a lot of technology and innovation that we're doing in LATAM is being a reference from the rest of the world. So we need to like erase that mindset that, oh no, we're leaders. No, we can be, we're followers. No, we can be also leaders because we're doing things that are changing the world. So the first thing is like change the way we think. And second, like wake up and do like something like fast because we have the power, we have the intelligence to do it. So just like invest in those type of like technologies right now.
And if you're a brand, for example, we've seen it with a lot of things on how do you present the products to your consumers. Like if you get to know your consumer, maybe AI can help you offer the right product to them, or you know that she likes red or that she's a size 38. As soon as you have a size 38 on your inventory, put it in front of her. Like there's many ways that you can adopt AI to make your brand or your company more time efficient, financially efficient, effective, and also how do you present your products?
Yes.
And with less friction, right? Which is the main driver on consumer behavior is if you have friction between just clicking buy now, the less friction you have between your consumer and that actual click,
it's going to convert to
is conversion, right?
Yes.
So using AI in that sense as well, making sure that it's more effective and less friction.
Yes. This is something that is going to help us a lot to do like more conversions, because the AI is going to know your client. It's going to like give them what they need, what they like, because AI knows everything that we are thinking. And something that we don't have to forget, it's the personal and the human touch. So even though that we have AI, always have someone behind that has the human touch, because at the end, we want to see that we're not talking with robots. Like we want to feel like we're still humans. So yes, this is beautiful, but always have this person to like recheck everything, like make them feel the customer that yes, the AI is giving you the options, but we have someone that is also like giving you that option because I know you, because you're my client, because I care about you. So this is going to make the change a little bit. Like, yes, we're working with AI, but I have someone that knows you too, and is a human.
And of course, that's talking about relationship with the consumers. And AI can go as far as like your finances. Like maybe you use AI, or your financial department uses AI to get invoices, squared faster. And it's not a process of 3 days. It can be something that can be done in 45 minutes, or drafting proposals or drafting contracts. I mean, AI can help in every single way of the business. I feel like, especially for younger brands that it's like a solopreneur that wears many hats. AI can really help to be more efficient with your time. But when it is with the consumer, it is very important what you're saying, that it's definitely that you will never replace the human touch and the relationships. And especially even, for example, with creation, like AI can, of course, help you maybe distinguish a pattern and use less fabric if you cut it this way. But the artisan or the person that's working in your atelier will make sure that is happening, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's my point. Like, use it until it's human. That's because again, answer.
It's a value proposition. Is like these are human hands working on your product.
Exactly. I'm just using it to enhance the productivity. That's it.
Exactly. That's really nice. Your report also talks about Latin soft power in global retail. What is Latin soft power, and which industries or categories are leading this movement?
Yeah, so the Latin soft power, we've been talking about this. For example, we have so many artists out there that they're leading this. For example, Shakira, Anita, people in the world, they want to look like them. So they're leading like the beauty industry, for example, the makeup, the hair, like people, for example, from Italy, from the UK, from everywhere, they're trying to like, they try to look like them, use their products, use their perfumes, use their makeup. So what I believe is through music and through culture, we're changing that. And the industries that are gonna lead this first step will be food and drink, because people wants to like try our food. It will be beauty, because I don't know if you know, we have like in our region the most superfoods that are using it for the beauty industry. So beauty is gonna be a powerful source for the world in Latin America, and also fashion, because Bad Bunny, we were talking about Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is changing and reshaping the way men dresses, because Bad Bunny is using, for example, like he mixed streetwear with some genderless silhouettes, and also with some Latin codes. So I believe that through music and through culture, we're reshaping the way the world is seeing us. And those three industries, I think, is going to be the most important industries for the next years. And also the lifestyle, because people want to come to see our countries and our places and enjoy our lifestyle, because this is something that you cannot find anywhere. It's
No.
just in our regions.
And that is also happening with hospitality.
Oof.
Which
Number one.
hospitality is kind of like incorporating all the retail experience into their
Yes.
hotels. And I feel like Latins, we do it best.
Number one.
Exactly. So you go to destinations and to these like really nice hotels, and then you end up taking home with you, you know, the gift shops right now are not the same gift shops that we used to see
Yeah.
before, like where you would get sunblock and maybe a pair of sandals.
Yeah.
Right now, the intentional, they actually source a product, and it's
Yes.
talking about your entire experience. Even the uniforms of the staff is actually thought with a
Yeah.
local designer, and it's like you really they want to make sure that you
Live.
exactly the lifestyle you're saying, like
Yeah.
you take it back a piece of
A piece of it.
exactly.
Yes, yes. Actually, I don't know if you, I mean, a lot of like hotels, they have their private labels. They used to have like whatever, they source from whatever, but now they find out that people want to take a piece from them. So they have their own brands, private labels, which a lot of rich history. So I believe that this is the way we have to do it, like put more effort to our labels, to our private labels.
Which also that helps a lot of small brands, and I always tell them when they are, you know, especially when they're resort brands or swimwear brands, I always tell them try with hotels, because now
Yes.
they are, you know, the entryway.
The testers.
The testers, exactly. And they're
Yeah.
doing it really well. And then, you know, you can test with an international consumer your pricing, your product, your quality, because it's really it's completely shaped different than when it used to be back in the day, that there was horrible merchandise in the gift shops or in the boutiques of the hotels. Right now it's an entire experience. And for smaller brands, I feel that it's a great formula to test, even if it's on consignment. And I understand that consignment sometimes is not the best,
Yeah.
and the most ideal format. But I feel like it is, if you're diversifying your clients, I think that hotels are great to test, because right now it's something that's happening and it's shaping
Yes, because if you're gonna
retail.
exactly, because if you're gonna go or understand the US market, European market, you have it there. You're gonna see if they really like your product, if they like the price, everything. So I believe we were talking about testing. That's a great place to test your products.
What are the biggest mistakes brands should avoid when scaling internationally from LATAM?
Wow, this is I mean, I think we mentioned a little bit about this. Lose who you are. I think like when you're trying to go internationally, some of the brands are losing their DNA. They're losing that like, you know, like that feeling of who you are, because you're trying to just follow trends, which I mean, we do have to follow trends, but never lose the DNA of your brand. Who are you talking to? Why the people is buying your brand? Why are you giving back to the community? So it's important like to understand where you're gonna go and show your product, but also you have to show who you are. Like for example, this is something really hard with like global companies, like humongous companies, because they don't have an identity. What you don't have to lose is your identity. If you go global, be you, be truthful. So this is something that I think that you never have to lose if you want to be successful outside your country.
And I also feel like you really need to understand how your product is going to translate to the local community,
100%.
right? Because as you were saying, like Latins, we're all about color and shapes and volume and prints. And then if you're aiming to go to Scandinavia with this type of things, it's like, how is your product going to translate to the local consumer there? It might be just an occasion. You know, identify an opportunity. For example, we're great in resorts. Okay, so maybe we offer product at a certain time of the year in Scandinavia where they're probably taking trips.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like really understanding, again, the value proposition.
Exactly. And also like understanding, because maybe your product is going to be for a certain area. Like in a hotel or maybe in a neighborhood that you know that is local people, like Latin people or people that are more open, that likes our culture. So yes, you need to understand, but not change your items just because you're going to Scandinavia. No, you're going to Scandinavia to show who you are. Like, of course, put everything that you are in your pieces, but never change those products just because you're gonna go there, because you're gonna end up losing who you are, and people is not gonna connect with you. At the end, people buy from you because they connect with your brand. And if you lose that, you lose everything.
And you're gonna become one more
brand.
One more brand, exactly. You know, brand DNA and identity is definitely super important. How can small and mid-sized Latin American brands compete and collaborate alongside global giants?
I see this. I don't know if we should compete, because global giants, I feel like they don't compete with the small and mid-sized brands because they don't have what they have. They don't have identity. Like big brands, they're just big brands. You know, like they just producing like in mass. And the small companies, they're producing with soul. So if you start like doing like, let's put it this way. If you start like working with the community, understanding the community, working in collaboration with artists, with another brands, you're gonna make better connection with the client, and the client is gonna choose you because you're giving the experience that we've been talking about. And global retailers is like, yes, they have the money, they have everything, and maybe we're not gonna be able to compete with them because they have humongous assortments and humongous like capital they can do whatever they want. So what I think is like collaboration is a big thing, because you can start collaborating with different brands and also different categories. Doesn't have to be just fashion or just beauty. Maybe
home.
Everything. You can like start collaborating. For example, I see that you have a beautiful brand from home. I do beauty, and this one does fashion. Let's do a pop-up. And people is gonna choose to go to our pop-up because we're giving an experience instead of like a cold big retail that doesn't give you anything. So I believe collaboration is the key to like compete, because we're not gonna compete with money. We're not gonna compete with, you know, like those type of things that maybe we're missing, but we can compete with collaboration, with feeling, with trust, with transparency, with listen to your customers, because it's easier to apply something in a small company that you see that, for example, a change is gonna happen. It's easier to do it in a small companies than in a big companies, because a big company requires forever. Yeah. So that's why I see like as an advantage when you're smaller, that you can do anything you want and you can connect better with your client.
And also, and now that I hear you saying this, obviously that is why huge companies go to smaller brands for collaborations like H&M. Exactly. Like, for example, we just saw the massive hit that Lorena Sarabia had a couple of no, it was not a couple of months ago, last year around November. It's actually the first Mexican brand that does a collaboration with a global, and it was not only in Mexico, it was like in the entire US and Europe, everything. It's because they need that. They need the soul of a local brand that communicates with a local audience. And even with people that didn't know Lorena, they understood the brand. And she did a wonderful job in making sure that her communities were also involved in this. Yeah. And it's a very smart move, because the global massive brand is looking for soul in that way. But then also Lorena benefits of the expansion and amplification that big brand is giving her. Yeah. And eventually that person that actually loved the product will eventually go to her and buy her specific brand, no? Or even like aspirational clients. Like I had a lot of friends that they were like, no, the boots are so expensive. Like I can't afford a pair of boots of Lorena. But then as soon as they were in H&M, they were like, I'm going to buy those. Exactly. And then guess what? They love them. And guess what? They'll save money. And as soon as they can, they're going to buy the main label Lorena Sarabia boots, right? Yeah. So I think it's a very smart play. Obviously, not everybody has the opportunity to collaborate with giants like H&M. I mean, Joan Ortiz did also a really wonderful job in that way. But I feel like these type of opportunities that you mentioned with collaborating within... Koki Koki did something with H&M Home, actually. Exactly. You know, like their fragrances. So a very small company from Yucatan it's collaborating with giant, companies such as H&M Home. So
Yeah.
I think those type of collaborations are great, but also collaborations within our own.
Yeah. I believe that those collaborations are the one that are gonna give the soul to the product, because you see, like, we have the answer here. Like, big companies identify this, that they need a soul, so they're looking for the small brands to bring that soul into their stores. So we can compete with that. Say like, guess what? We're gonna do it together, because together we can be stronger. So now, I mean, I'm gonna like jump a little bit with the generations. Smaller generations, they're not just looking for a brand because they're Chanel or they're Dior. They're looking for a soul. So if they see a small company and a small brand that they're giving them a history behind, they're gonna choose to go buy over there, even if the price is higher, because they choose quality versus quantity. So I believe that this is something that we can do as a strong collaboration to compete with giant corporations.
For the leaders listening today, what is the key strategic question they should be asking right now about the future of their brand?
So for the leaders, I think they should stay through who they are, through who they are. My phone is not working right now, but also they should connect with their clients. They should connect with their customers. Also, it is important to understand new ideas of value. Like, we're living in an era where uncertainty is our everyday. So be super open, like work with adaptability, and be always open to do new things. I think this is the way like leaders in Latin America will be successful. Like, because we love to control everything, like especially with numbers and all that. Like, not anymore. Like, release a little bit. You have to adapt, and don't buy like humongous assortments, because maybe it's gonna change. Maybe it's not gonna be that product. So start like sourcing locally, reduce the risk. And I believe like if you have an adaptability, it's gonna be like the key asset to be successful for the next years.
And to close, Christian, if Latin America truly sits at the center of the new global retail map, what responsibility and opportunity does that create for those building brands in the region?
So we need to create stories. Like we were talking about this. We need to be someone that just don't sell a product. We need to sell an experience. We need to sell a product. And thank God, Latin America has a lot of experience, a lot of stories, a lot of product with soul. So I believe that we can have this an opportunity because we have everything to do it. We have everything to rock this time. And Latin America is having their moment. So I hope and I beg to everyone that don't lose the time. Invest in technology, invest in everything that you see in your company that you can invest a little bit on it and you're going to be better. It is the time, because companies from around the world is going to turn their eyes and see us as a potential partner to do their products. And even like our brands is going to be the time to go abroad. So what I believe is like invest and be open to new markets.
And invest in knowledge, which is the most powerful asset. Definitely WGSN is a great partner to do so. We're very happy and honored and excited to keep partnering with you guys, because it's not just speaking about data-driven things, but it's also the insights that help businesses turn into leaders and profitable business. So definitely for all the brands that are listening to us today, invest in as many assets as you can to make your brands better, because it is the moment where you're going to see a quantum leap for Latin American businesses. And again, thank you, Christian, so much, in the WGSN collaborators for this space, because we definitely need to grab all that information that you source for us in all these reports, all these amazing analytics and data that will help definitely everyone be more efficient, be more profitable, and thrive in this unpredictable world.
Exactly.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you for like reminding that like WGSN is not just like a platform for trends; it's a platform to help people to understand their consumers. So yes, if you need more information, if you want to know more about us, please just reach out, and we will be so happy to like share more information about what we do and how we do it.
Yes, and we will be also sending a newsletter
Yep.
with a lot of information. Where can they go, like find WGSN.com?
So yeah, they can go to WGSA.com. Also, if you guys want, maybe we can put like my email or something that
Of
they can
course.
reach out to. And of course, I will be so happy to like have conversation with companies, share some knowledge, and like maybe why not? Maybe do more information for them.
Christian Acquista, thank you so much. And we'll see you in the next LAFS podcast. Thank you.